Tell us about the life of Julius Caesar and his personality. Let's try it with 5. Julius Caesar, Julius Caesar. His life and personality. Oh my. We have a person who is brave and noble. He likes to look at other things. He's not afraid of commitment. He's brave. He will reach out to things that should normally be out of reach. He has no fears. He looks things straight in the eye, entirely brave and courageous. And it's because he is a nobility. Gold backs him up. He has no fears because he has a divine intervention making him invincible in a sense. Fate is not in his hands, and fate is also not random. So therefore he has nothing to fear, because whatever happens is not because of his mishap or him stumbling when he takes a footstep. Fate lies not in his hands, but is already cast by the greater ones. So he has no fear. He can be fearless. He's entirely brave. Nothing bad can happen to him which wasn't already destined. And he's destined for great things, therefore no fear. Entirely brave. He had many lovers and secrets. He was a very sensual man. He loved to be romantic, not just intimate, but intimate and romantic. He loved the caress of a person. He really craved the human contact, and this is something he was not ashamed of. I imagine many people today would be ashamed and feel guilt and shame over that, but he had no inhibitions. He was able to indulge and to be completely free and open in terms of his sexuality and sensuality, which was both a physical endeavor as well as in his mind. This actually looks like one of his palaces. This looks like it. He lived like this, very much like this, or exactly like this. This is even they had buildings outside of the building which were something beautiful, also used for parties and food and drinks and gathering. It looks exactly like his home. There was a lot of brash attitude in him. Arrogance, fury, something putrid, almost some of the most vile of a human being. An ugliness which we cannot decipher today. Doing things that most men today would regret. disgusting and hideous, filth, even impurity. The most vile of things that we don't comprehend today, we don't have words for today. There is something very disgusting about this character. There were many wars and arguments and disputes, and he believes that he has won them all. He stands above the law because of his divinity. And his feet, he doesn't have to walk anywhere with his slippers because the gods are carrying him on their shoulders. That is why he could even buy the elephant. He bought an elephant once because an elephant could carry him on its shoulders. But you couldn't buy an elephant from the regular market. You had to go abroad, overseas. He believed that he was flawless. He could do no wrong. Because it's hard to explain, but everything he was, everything he did, was greater than himself. It was the divinity. Remember how brave he is. Look at how he looks at the woman in the tree. He's brave. He will face anything and seek anything because he knows he cannot have any accidents on the path. He cannot slip or injure his ankle or foot on the sharp rocks on the shore, because everything that happens to him is destined by greater things. Therefore he has no fear. This is the most confident man we have ever seen, at least that I have seen. The gates of nobility were very great, and he had access to all of them. He could go inside as he pleases. There was no hidden entry that he couldn't go through. He could let himself in to any house, to any palace. So in summation, we have a man who is tremendously confident, brave, fearless. And that's because he believes that everything that happens is destined. There's no randomness in life. And there is something backing him up, protecting him even, from a divinity. So he was able to be entirely confident that nothing bad could happen that wasn't part of the system, the plan. He believed he had access to every house, every palace, every door. He could go where he wants. He could seek anything he wants with full confidence and brave, and he could access any house he wants. He was a sensual man because he wasn't for any reason inhibited or ashamed of bodily contact. He was a very sensual, romantic man with his lovers and partners. Very much so. But there is something very disgusting as well. Something horrendous, grotesque. Let's just do a follow-up on the grotesque because we don't fully understand what it is. I will take 2 more cards to explain the grotesque. Explain the grotesque nature of Julius Caesar. This has to do with taking babies, I can see. Taking babies. Something to do with taking an infant and brutality. In distant lands, there was a snake hidden between the 2 lands. It has to do with far away, things that happened far, far away, in distant lands, not his own lands. Something grotesque has happened. There was a lot of gold, and bragging and boasting about gold. So we have a contrast between the grotesque and this gold and the lavishness, and it has to do with the faraway lands. But this explains a bit further into the grotesque nature of Julius Caesar.